Hey guys. Welcome to Secrets Behind the Stars, where whispers turn into the stories everyone ends up talking about. Settle in, because what we're about to share has the entire fandom buzzing, and the echoes are getting louder by the minute. You've asked for the truth behind the sudden wave of romantic speculation, and tonight we're taking you behind the curtain to the moments everyone close to the set swears changed everything for Akın Akınözü and Ebru Şahin. What set the fuse alight wasn't a grand statement on a red carpet or a staged interview. It was quieter, more intimate, soft-spoken admissions shared among trusted friends after long days on set and longer nights of rehearsals, the kind of moments where guards drop and words flow unfiltered. People who have been around Akın lately say he's different in the best possible way. When the conversation drifts toward Ebru, he glows. He laughs in that unguarded way, he pauses as if savoring a memory, and then, without even meaning to, he lets out a line that friends keep repeating to anyone who will listen, that what's coming with Ebru isn't just serious, it's imminent. The phrase that kicked up the storm? Not a rehearsed declaration, not a press-ready caption, but a simple, charged sentiment translating to one thing: marriage isn't just on the horizon, it's close enough to touch. Fans who've watched them from the very beginning know the story by heart, yet somehow it feels brand new with every sighting. They met while headlining a project that baked their names into the zeitgeist, a collaboration that turned the fiction of two souls colliding into something that looked a lot like fate. The chemistry they delivered on-screen made viewers hold their breath, the connection they carried off-screen made believers out of even the most cynical. It didn't happen overnight. At first, it was two professionals sharing notes between takes, knowing glances when a scene landed perfectly, and bursts of laughter under those glaring studio lights. Then came late-night table reads that stretched past midnight, the accidental brush of shoulders while they walked back to their marks, and the decision, so gentle, so mutual, to keep any flicker between them away from the flash of cameras. No declarations, no sudden reveals, just a growing bond that refused to be hurried and never needed the noise to feel real. They promised themselves privacy, and for the longest time, they kept it. The interviews were careful, the captions precise. Still, you can't hide every little spark, not when two people carry that much warmth wherever they go. A smile that appears whenever the other's name is mentioned, a quick glance in crowded rooms that says "I see you" even when the world tries to blur the edges, and the quiet courage to be a steady presence for one another even while juggling heavy schedules and expectations, those were the hints that made fans lean in. And now, after months of silence that felt respectful but almost unbearably suspenseful, we're hearing that his private words have finally gone where public statements never dared. People close to Akın say he's been using a phrase lately that tells you everything. He calls Ebru his partner in the truest sense, his anchor, his compass, the soul who steadies him when the ground shakes. There's a warmth in his voice when he talks about the future, not as a blurry dream, but as a plan that's slowly taking shape day by day. He hasn't shouted it from a stage, he doesn't have to. When friends hear him say that the pieces of his life are sliding into place, they know what he means. They say he talks about building, not just a home, but a rhythm, a shared life in which their careers don't pull them apart but actually lift them both higher. And what about Ebru? She has always been elegance in motion, calm, bright, measured. She doesn't offer teasing headlines, she never needed to. Yet those who've sat with her between scenes, who've watched her set down her script and talk about the weeks ahead, say there's a surety in her lately that wasn't there before. She smiles in that way that gives everything away and nothing at all. She keeps her tone light, but she doesn't deny that something around her has deepened. She makes space for him, folds him into her routine, and then carries on, because that's who she is, someone who knows when to hold fast and when to let the story breathe. The rumors are not floating in a vacuum. According to sources who have been quietly watching, the families have met in settings so low-key that you'd miss them if you weren't paying attention. No cameras. No announcements. Just warmth, tea served in delicate cups, familiar jokes, and the kind of shared glances that ease tension in a room. Approval didn't arrive with fanfare, it arrived with comfort. And yes, there have been those strategic escapes, those short trips to places where the sea catches the last light and the streets are blissfully anonymous. They've walked there like any two people learning each other's steps, tucked away from the ever-hungry lenses, just long enough to spark a rumor that maybe, just maybe, a ring is coming sooner than anyone expected. People are asking why this moment feels different, why these whispers carry more weight than all the others. It's simple. Until now, he dodged the marriage question like it was a spotlight he hadn't rehearsed for. Akın has been in a relentless forward motion, neck deep in challenging roles, pushing himself, drawing lines between his craft and his heart in a way that made perfect sense for someone protecting both. But the language is shifting. It isn't the coy, half-answer sort of talk anymore. Friends say there's confidence in him now, not bravado, but a quiet certainty, the kind that makes even the most sarcastic confidant stop and say, this time he means it. And fans feel it too. They've flooded timelines and comment sections with captions that don't hide an ounce of hope. The most harmonious pair of the year, the love story that deserves its soft landing, the chapter that should end with a kiss and a promise. When word of his off-record remarks slipped into the open, it was like pointing a spotlight at a picture that had long been painted in soft tones. Suddenly the outlines sharpened. The narrative that used to be a murmur became a chorus. He's ready, they're ready, and the next page might be the one everyone's been waiting for. Their love has been steady, buffered from the noise but never hiding. Now it feels like the moment where steady becomes official, where private intention turns into public commitment. Not because anyone demanded it, but because it's simply time. We keep coming back to the origin because that's where the magic began, two actors whose paths converged on a project big enough to carry their names across continents. From the very first table read, their instincts aligned. The beats were seamless. Crew members still talk about how they carried the toughest scenes like dancers, how they respected each other's craft, how the pull between their characters never felt like work. Offset, the camaraderie came first. Shared playlists. Bad coffee in paper cups at 5 a.m. Stolen daylight between setups. The fondness grew roots there, in that space where admiration becomes familiarity and familiarity becomes a kind of home. They've never turned their relationship into a performance piece, even as the world begged them to. They've chosen togetherness over theatrics, substance over spectacle. Still, watch the footage closely and the things they didn't say are as telling as the things they did. A soft hand on a shoulder when the day went long, unspoken encouragement during a risky scene, eyes meeting across a crowded rap party like a promise kept. If their story has taught us anything, it's that love can live in the spaces no headline can capture. Then came the whispers, that in late-night conversations with a tight circle, Akın called her the person who clarified his entire world. That he speaks of the future as if it's a map they've already drawn together, highlighting the places they'll visit and the milestones they'll share. People who've known him for years say he sounds lighter, as if decisions that used to feel heavy now slide into place without a struggle. And every time her name crosses his lips, there's a softness there that friends hadn't heard before. Not fragile, certain. Grounded. True. Ebru has never needed noise to make a point. Even now, she's poised, unfolding her plans with care. She reads, she trains, she prepares, and in the in-betweens, she lets the people who matter see exactly how deeply this love runs. She's careful, yes, but not hesitant. There's a strength in how she guards what's precious, and a grace in how she shares just enough to keep hope alive without inviting the world into rooms that don't belong to it. According to those close to her, the conviction is mutual. This bond isn't a distraction from her work. It's a force that steadies her hand and sharpens her focus. When two careers stand tall at the same time, balancing can be brutal. Auditions. Shoots that leapfrog across time zones. Press tours that require smiles on cue and answers crafted to withstand storms. Yet look at them now, the schedules haven't loosened, but the cadence of their lives seems in sync. They carve out time, even if it's only a few hours over breakfast or a walk at dusk that has to end too soon. They're present at each other's milestones, not to claim the spotlight, but to applaud from just behind the curtain. Those who see them together in unguarded moments say the support is active, not performative. Notes on scripts exchanged over coffee, pep talks during tough days, reminders to breathe when pressure threatens to take the air out of the room. And then there are the telltale sightings that feed an entire city. A jewelry boutique where a ring glinted just long enough to catch someone's eye. A seaside town where they checked in under names so ordinary you'd miss them unless you were looking. A dinner shared at a tucked-away restaurant where the staff knows how to protect a secret and a smile. No one who cares about them is betraying confidences, and we won't either. But patterns tell stories, and this pattern is singular, a couple making room for the future without making a spectacle of it. Those close to the family say the warmth was immediate. There were memories exchanged and family tales traded back and forth like souvenirs. It wasn't about negotiating terms or managing optics, it was about the simple recognition that two people had found something rare and wanted it to last. Approval arrived not like a gavel strike but like a hand placed gently over another, saying, "We see you, and we're with you." What happens next? That's the question that drenches every comment section and fuels every late-night chat. Are we weeks away from an announcement? Days? Will it be a photo so simple it breaks the internet, or a statement as elegant as the way they've handled everything so far? If the whispers are right, we won't have to wait long. But even if the timeline stretches, here's the truth that matters: the foundation is set. The promise, even unspoken, is already there in the choices they make every day. Social feeds are brimming with gratitude and anticipation. Fans have turned their support into a chorus that refuses to go quiet. They call Akın and Ebru the pair that makes romance feel classic again, the duo that proves you can respect your craft and still make room for love that's unshakable. You can feel the collective wish hanging in the air: let this be the real thing, let it end in vows and a lifetime of echoes. For now, we hold space for their timeline. We recognize the courage it takes to love in the public eye and the wisdom it takes to keep that love sheltered. We acknowledge the glow around them and the restraint with which they've treated it. And we admit it, we're rooting for a moment when the whispers become words they choose to share themselves. When that day comes, we'll be here to celebrate it, exactly the way we've covered every delicate step, without prying, without posturing, simply paying attention to the beats that feel true. This is Secrets Behind the Stars, signing off from a story that keeps growing brighter, a story written between call times and quiet nights, between spotlight and solitude. If you've listened all the way to this moment, you can feel it too, the hum of something lasting, the steady drum of a future coming into focus. Stay with us, because the next chapter is close, closer than it's ever been, and when it arrives, you'll hear it here first. Until then, remember. Some love stories don't need to shout. They just keep moving forward, step by step, toward the moment when the promise turns to a vow and the world finally gets to witness what the two of them have already known for a long time. If you enjoyed being here with us tonight, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you've shared this with the friend who never misses a heartbeat in a story like this, and keep your notifications on. We'll be watching with care and kindness, ready for the day when Akınözü and Ebru Şahin let the world in on the next beautiful secret they've been building together.